Well, I'm glad people are attending today. I get excited about all of our topics, but this is one that when I talk to firm owners, especially small firm owners, what I often hear is I should be doing more in the marketing area because I want to grow my business. I don't know how to do it, and I don't think I have the time to do that. And so that's really what we're going to talk about during today's session. I'm Tom Wadelton, so I'm going to facilitate today's session. Just a little background, I'm one of the virtual CFOs at Summit CPA Group. Live in Indiana. I've been active with the Indiana CPA Society for several years, including being past chair of the board there. So a little bit of information for you today. You do get 1 CPE credit for today's session. You do have to attend the entire session and answer at least 3 of our polling questions that we have for today. If you attend, we will, and get the credit, we'll go ahead and send out a CPE certificate to you and the slides and information to you. Just to tell you a little bit more background, since I mentioned that I work for Summit CPA Group. So since 2004, we've been providing CFO and back office services to different clients. In 2013, we went fully distributed as a firm. So while we would say we're located in Fort Wayne, Indiana, the majority of our team lives elsewhere. Kelly's in Colorado. I am south of Fort Wayne in Indianapolis, Indiana. That does give us flexibility from team members and clients, where my clients are across the country and then a couple of them outside the US. So we've got that flexibility that I know now a lot of people enjoy after the pandemic shutdown. People work from home is not that big of a deal, but we've been distributed for a long time. I mentioned employees throughout the world, so we do have 55 employees throughout the world. So that's a little bit about Summit CPA Group, and Kelly is our marketing director at Summit CPA Group.
Yeah, so a couple of you, yeah, I'll go for it. A couple of you mentioned in the questions box that you can see the slides, so thank you, I appreciate that. We will keep our eyes on the questions box, so if you have questions, please ask away at any time. We'll try to weave those in as we go. So I am gonna start out with this little quote. Half the money I spend on advertising is wasted. The trouble is I don't know which half. I would love for you guys to put in the questions box, hands up, tell us you identify with that. I think that we probably often feel the same way when it comes to our marketing. We're putting a lot of things out there and we don't know what is working, what is not working. Maybe we're not putting anything out there, we're getting clients, and we just feel like we just don't really know what is, what's the most effective. So we're going to talk today about, that. We're going to create a marketing plan. We're going to talk about how to focus on what is the most effective for you and for your firm. So before we get into it, I am Kelly Schuknecht, the Director of Marketing for Summit. And I am going to tell you a few things about me before we get started, just so you can get to know me. First of all, I live in the most beautiful place in the world. So I grew up in Omaha, which I can't say is the most beautiful place in the world. A great place to grow up, but now I live in Colorado. This is the view from my home office, if you can believe that. Tom has actually been to this area, so he can back me up on that.
Beautiful. I think I told you the very first time I arrived there, I got in like at 1 a.m. and stayed in a bed and breakfast. And so when I got up, the view was similar to that. And I had no idea that was going to be the view. It was pretty incredible.
Yeah, it's amazing. This is actually a fall picture I took a few years ago, but looking forward to the snow-capped mountains coming back here pretty soon, because it's about time for it to start snowing up there. But I'm extremely likely to get to work from home and get to see that every day. Number 2, I share my office with a 9-year-old Chihuahua. Her name is Baby Doe. This is her sleeping on the couch behind me. She is not here with me today, but she is a nice little office mate. And actually, Tom knows I just got a new puppy too. So the next time I'll have to show both in my picture. And third, I am currently reading a book called Alien Thinking. I am a big reader. If you follow me on any social media, you're going to see quotes from books that I'm reading, book reviews that I'm posting. I love to read. I spent 10 years in the publishing industry before I came to Summit. I was in charge of the corporate marketing for the company that I worked in. And so just working in publishing, I fell in love with books and love talking about books and authors and all things related. So if you are currently reading something or have some recommendations for me, I would love it if you would put them in the questions box. I want to say comments box, but we only have the questions functionality. So share away.
Or we will talk about the CFO community Slack channel, and there's a book club within there. So if people would put it in there, we can get some conversation going around the book also.
We can share any recommendations in there. That would be great. So let's get to it. What brought you here today? Why do you want to market your firm, or why do you need to market your firm? You signed up for a reason. Would love it if you would put some responses in the questions box on this as well. Just telling us kind of, why do you need to market your firm? I'm going to share some of my what I came up with here, but if you have other thoughts, I would love to hear those as well. So first of all, you want to establish your expertise. Maybe you work in a certain niche, you work with a certain niche, and you want to establish your expertise within that niche as the go-to person for all things accounting related. You want to position yourself as an authority, become kind of the again, the go-to person, the thought leader in the industry for within your niche, or if you don't have a niche, just becoming kind of known as the person that has the answers to those questions. You want to educate your target audience. So this is a great one. Maybe you want to educate your audience on accounting related topics, and also at the same time getting to know them and attracting them and getting to know you through the
Hi, Kelly.
Okay.
I thought that was muted.
Oh. And then finally, attract new leads to your business. So obviously we want to attract new leads. We want to help people discover our firm and bring in new leads that we can eventually convert to paying clients. Looks like we've got a couple comments in there. Yeah.
Yeah, I see a couple. Learning and growing is in there. And then also, as I think about just people wanting to grow the firm, attracting clients, and maybe even attracting employees as you're trying to hire, and it's challenging to hire people.
Yeah, great. So before we go any further, I do want to talk about what we're talking about when we talk about marketing. I know we know what marketing is, but I want to be clear on this. I'm going to have Tom go ahead and launch the first poll question while we talk through this.
Okay. Okay,
right.
So that's launched.
Yeah, so what is the size of your firm? So go ahead and answer that for us so we can get to know you guys a little bit better and who we have in the audience. But I heard this great quote in a video I watched the other day from a speaker. His name is Chris Do, and he was talking about a conversation he was having with somebody where he said the question that we often ask is, how do I find better clients, or how do I find more clients, we might be asking. And he said the question that we really should be asking is, how do better clients find us, or how do more clients find us? And I want to differentiate here. I love that quote. It's about how we attract them to us, not how we proactively go out and find those people. And I want to differentiate here marketing and sales, because one of the things I learned when I moved over from publishing into the accounting industry is that often in accounting, marketing and sales get kind of merged together and seen as the same thing. And I want to be clear that when we're talking about marketing, we're talking about how we're attracting those clients to us. Tom, how much longer do we have on the poll there?
Probably about 10 more seconds. We've got 90% of people who have answered, but we're just about to close it down. So some people are going to miss out if they don't answer.
Okay, we'll go ahead and wait on that, let people answer. It looks like as of right now, gosh, big majority of people
68% are 5 or lower, right?
Yep, yeah.
Okay, go ahead and close it down. Okay, back to you.
So yeah, so most of you are firms that are 5 or less, right? 1 to 5 people. 20% of you are a firm of 1. So that's great. I'm glad to have you here today. I think that you'll get a lot out of this. So just want to make sure that we're clear that we're talking about how we're attracting those clients to us, not necessarily the closing. If you're a firm of one, you may be doing all the things. You're wearing all the hats. You're doing the marketing, you're doing the sales, you're doing the service delivery, but you still need to see the marketing and sales as two very different functions within what you're doing within your process. So when we're talking about marketing, this is our funnel. I'll show you the funnel on the next slide here, but we're talking about how we attract, how we nurture, and how we serve our leads. And Tom, I need you to like slap me on the hand whenever I say clients, because I'm going to say it, but I mean leads, not clients.
Okay. Okay.
And so
Got it.
I may do that occasionally, but we want to look at how we attract, nurture, and serve our leads. And this is our funnel, right? The top of the funnel, how we attract them; the middle of the funnel, how we nurture them; and the bottom of the funnel, how we serve them. So, in what ways do we attract our leads? All throughout this conversation, please feel free to put anything in the questions. When I'm asking you a question, put it in the questions. But comment on that. How are you attracting your leads? So some of the things that I came up with, how are they finding us? How are they discovering us? How are they stumbling across us? So have you ever bought something, Tom, bought something or signed up for some sort of service and had no idea where you originally heard of them? A lot of times.
Oh, sure. Yeah. All the time.
Yeah, a lot of times we do that. We don't even know where we, stumbled across this product at some point. We found it and we don't even really know how. So we may be attracting our leads through our website, through SEO, through speaking engagements. If you're going out and doing speaking engagements, whether that is in person or these days virtually. Networking, if you're going in any kind of networking groups, or maybe through referrals. Content marketing, if you're putting out any articles, blog posts, podcasts, if you're guesting on other people's podcasts, doing any kind of video marketing on any kind of platform, YouTube, TikTok, you name it. If you're doing social media outreach, I did a really short video recently on using Haro to increase your website traffic and to increase your reach. Haro is a great resource. If you didn't see that, we did share it on Instagram Reels. You can look for that. It's a really short video kind of explaining Haro and how that works, and through advertising. So these are all the ways that people may find you online.
Kelly, can you make a comment about why leads versus clients? I'm curious why that distinction.
Well, yes, because when I get to the next one here, I'm going to talk about serving, and we, not talking about, obviously you want them to turn into your clients, right? But I'm talking about leads. And so I keep finding myself saying the word clients, and I'm actually talking about their pre-clients. They're not your clients yet. Yeah. You want them to become your clients, but at this stage, they are your leads.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Okay, so how we nurture our leads, I almost said it again. How do we keep them engaged and keep them interested? So I like to think of this as like the dating phase. Like we've attracted them, now we're in this dating phase. If they want to get to know us a little bit better and find out if we're the right fit for them. So you may have an email list. You may do some email marketing, blog if you're getting blog subscribers, podcast if you're doing your own internal podcast, chat if you have the chat function on your website. So this is a great way if they've discovered you, they maybe have some questions, they may ask those questions on your site. And if you have a quoting tool where they can get to know a little bit of information without committing too much. Like, I don't really want to have a conversation yet, but I would like a little bit more information. And then when it comes to serving your leads, how are we serving your leads? And this is where I want to make that distinction really clear. Not how we serve our clients, but how we serve the lead. How do we get them to convert and convert to more like a sales qualified lead? We do a free consultation. You may do something like a webinar, some sort of sign up for something. So there's other ways that you can serve your leads. And this is one example here. So how do we measure these things? And I think this is kind of the million-dollar question for, especially for accountants who want to know the ROI, right? Of whatever we're doing, how do we measure it? And marketing can be really tricky. Can't always measure everything that we're putting out there. How we attract people, you may be doing a lot of things and you can't measure it exactly, but there are some numbers that you can measure that will give you a good idea of the overall picture of what's working and what's not. So when it comes to attracting our leads, what is your total reach? So we can look at the website traffic, we can look at the social media numbers, we can look at video views. So those are just some examples of measuring the attract stage. When it comes to nurturing, how many leads are you getting? So how many people are signing up for your email list? How many people are subscribing to your blog? How many chats are people initiating on your website? And maybe how many quotes are you getting? Are people getting on your site? And when it comes to serving your leads, pretty simple, how many consultations are getting scheduled, or how many registrations are you getting, or how many, whatever your measure or whatever your metric is there, however you're serving your leads.
Kelly, the terms nurture and serve to me
Yeah,
seem to indicate, which I think is a really good thing, that it can take some time. Right. There can be times, and I know we
absolutely.
have cases where people say this isn't for us now, and it's not every time, but it could be a year later that they're coming back. And I think having some contact during that time and the free consultation may have felt like that really was just free and we've lost them. But a year later feels like that right time. And that feels like that nurture and serve can become a really important part if someone's just barely testing the waters to
Yeah.
keep them there. So if they're ready, then they keep you in mind instead of finding someone different.
Yeah, absolutely. We've had speaking engagements we've done where we came back from the event and maybe a week later somebody signed up with us. We've
Mm,
also had it where we've done a speaking engagement and 18 months later somebody signed up with
mm,
us. So that nurture stage is really important. Is how do you keep them engaged in get engaged with you with whatever you're doing. They're not quite ready yet to sign up with you, but they're interested and they're going to maybe keep an eye out. Maybe their budget doesn't allow for it right now,
mhm.
whatever the reason is. Maybe they have an accountant that they're working with and they're just not quite ready to make a change yet, but they kind of have it in the back of their mind and it may take them a while to get to that point. So that nurture stage is really important.
Good, good.
All right, dress for success. So I'm going to have you launch the second poll question,
Okay.
Tom, while I talk about this. I'm laughing because I'm thinking of my children, and I'll tell you the story here when we get the poll
Okay.
question launched.
You're going to define the style guide, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Here it's launched.
So does your firm have a style guide? This is going to lead into what we're going to talk to next. So very simple, just would like to know yes, no, or doesn't apply. Maybe you're not with a firm, whatever. Or maybe you have something, but it's outdated and whatever, however you want to answer that. So dress for success. So my kids, I don't know if you have this, if your kids had this, Tom, but at my kids' school, I have one in high school and two in middle school. They all play sports, and on game days they are supposed to dress for success.
Oh,
So
okay.
yeah, so so it sounds like your kids didn't have that.
Not in the term that I'm hearing it, yes or
Okay,
no.
okay. So on game days, they dress up. They may wear a dress, they may wear a collared
Oh,
shirt. The expectations aren't super high. They are middle school and high school kids, but it's dressing a little bit different from their normal day or what they normally would wear. And I kept thinking about this when I was thinking about branding and the importance of branding your firm. That why do they do that? Dress for success. And just interrupt me at any time, Tom, when you need to close up the poll.
yep. I am going to go ahead and close it now.
Okay, okay.
Yep. So you can
All
see
right.
about 2/3 said no. Now, the
Yeah,
reason that caught me, I do remember some with my kids, there were times where they were allowed to wear sort of like the game jersey. But I
sure.
like the
Yep. And
idea
they
of
will do
dressing
that
up.
too.
That's really cool.
Yeah. Yeah. It's always funny when they do because yeah, it's like why do we do this, right? And I was thinking through like why do they do this? Somewhat it's to get them in the mindset of it's game day. Something is different today and I'm going to go out, approach my day differently because it's a game day. Um, Maybe they stand out a little bit among the kids, like I'm on the team, and they just give an impression of success, right? Like
Yeah,
I
right.
love that. um, so I kept thinking of this as it relates to branding your firm and how we you want your firm to be dressed for success. You want to be giving your potential clients a good impression of you, and differentiate yourself from the others. And so 63% of you don't have a style guide, and for the 32% that do, great. And maybe you, I'm going to go into a template here on creating a style guide. So for that 32%, maybe this isn't helpful to you, but I will say I've worked in companies before where we've had style guides that are something like 20 pages or more. They're really detailed. And I have found that having a really simple style guide, especially if you're a firm of 5 or less people, is really helpful to make it as simple as possible. So I'm going to show you the template that maybe, there we go, that I use for the style guide. It's 1 page. And so the pieces that I have here, I typically will create like a folder. I'll have the style guide in the folder. This is all filled out, and I'll show you a sample of one filled out next. But I have in there also the 2 logos. So I have a primary logo. You want to have the primary logo. Typically, that's what you're going to use 80% of the time, maybe more. When somebody asks for your logo, if you're doing a speaking event or you're doing something and they need a headshot and a logo, having that readily available in a folder is really helpful. It sounds obvious, like you should have that really readily available, but I think a lot of times it's like, where is that thing, right? And then we're looking,
Right.
we can't
Totally.
find the things that we need. So having it labeled primary logo. If you're a single person, a single solopreneur, you're doing it all yourself, it may be easier for you. But as you grow and you have other people who are helping you, you hire a team member, maybe you have an assistant who is the one responding to the emails and sending out the logo. You hire an outside designer. Having all of these things really organized and readily accessible for everyone is really helpful. So having the primary logo, the alternate logo, occasionally you'll need this. You can see actually in this template, I'm using an alternate logo. So if I were using our normal logo, our primary logo, you wouldn't see half of it because the blue would just wash away in the background. So there are times where you'll need an alternate, just 1 color logo. So I've found it handy to just have that saved in the folder, ready to go for anyone can grab it, and it's easy to find. Then your colors. So if you don't have a color palette, having those colors, it's like, I'm not wearing a very good outfit for an example today, but like if I were wearing a certain color outfit, I would want my shoes to match the outfit, right? Or want my earrings to match the outfit. So your colors, this is your color scheme. It's how the things tie together and overall give the impression, give people an impression about your company, about your firm. When they see your logo, they see the colors, they see your designs. If you publish images on social media, things like that, they should be in your brand colors, and people start to recognize that and recognize you for that. So a little tip, I don't know if we are able to put a comment in the questions box without a question first.
I can.
Okay, so a really handy tool is coolors.co. So it's COOLORS.co. And I love this tool. It's free. You can upload your logo and it will pull the colors from your logo, and then it will create a color palette for you of 5 colors that go, the 2 colors in your logo or however many colors are in your logo, and then the additional colors up to 5 to create a palette. If you don't like the additional colors that it came up with, it's like spinning a wheel. You can spin the wheel and it will generate 3 more colors. When you like one of them, you can click to lock it in, and then it will generate the additional colors. So you can come up in minutes, you can come up with your color palette. And under the circles there, I have the number signs. So those number signs are really helpful for if if you're creating designs, let's say in Canva, or your designer, you're asking a designer to create a guide for you or something, having those numbers in there ensures that the colors that they use are your colors and that your colors don't start morphing over time because people are guessing on the colors or just using something close to it, but having those actual numbers in place. Then the font preferences, I don't worry about this so much, but it is helpful to have some sample fonts that you prefer. I have worked with designers who will come up with some like crazy title font, header font, or something where I'm like, oh, no, no, no. So you want to give them an idea of the type of fonts that you want to see in your designs. And then sample images, just again, give them an idea of the overall look and feel of what you want to see. So having this, it takes really just minutes to put something like this together, and then having it as a reference. Like I said, if you have somebody on your team, you hire somebody or you delegate to somebody on your team and they're doing anything, putting anything out there about your firm, this ensures that it's all in line with what your expectations are. I'll show you a sample here. So this is basically Summit's style guide, one-page style guide. So we've got our primary logo, we've got our alternate logo, and here I've got a blue version of it because if I put the white one in there, you wouldn't see it, right?
Yep.
So that's exactly why sometimes you need that alternate logo. Then our colors in there, some sample images, and some basic fonts. So
did you use the colors to come up with this, Kelly, or when you chose how were the
I
ones
use
for
that
Summit
coolers.
specifically? You did, okay. For
Yep,
coolers,
I
yeah.
did. Yep. Yeah, that's a really handy tool. I love it. It's really helpful.
And you talked about simple. This does look simple to have someone say, this is what we would like you to follow with a couple different fonts, some colors, and saying this is our image.
Yeah. Well, and like I said, I have hired, I've worked in companies where we've had 20-page style guides before, and in my experience, people won't touch it because it's super complicated. It's not complicated so much. It's just so detailed that people just ignore it. It's kind of like, I'm sure in accounting, if you try to talk through the details of the numbers with a business owner that you work with, like, yeah, whatever, right? They just want the give me the specific information that I need, not all the details, right? So
We
yeah.
do have a question around, would you recommend that CPA firms have a writing style guide, like tone, word choice, things like that?
Well, okay, so we're going to get into the marketing plan next. And
Okay.
my theme here in all of it, and I think that was Stephen that asked that question. Yes, you can have that, but also don't overcomplicate things. So that is going to be my my theme of the hour is don't overcomplicate it. So if having that in place is going to prevent you from moving forward or from making a decision on something, don't worry about that right now. We have some writers that we have hired. I don't have a writing style guide for them, but I can read what they give me and determine if it's the right, if it's the right fit. And then we found some writers that we work with regularly, so they know exactly what we're looking for. So yes, you can have that, but also don't let that prevent you from making progress and moving forward and getting out the content. So now we have dressed for success, and now it is game time. So we're going to develop the marketing plan. So like I just said, I don't want to overcomplicate it. I try to make this as simple as possible. What are you going to do, and how are you going to do it? And also, how are you going to measure it? So we'll talk through that. I warned you already that I'm a reader. I have a quote from Essentialism, one of my favorite books from a few years ago. Greg McEwen says, Essentialism is not about how to get more things done. It's about how to get the right things done. And I apply this to marketing in this sense. Marketing is not about how to do all the things and get all the things done, but about how to focus on the right things. It's really important to focus on what works well for you and not try to do everything. I think if you follow any marketing person, or you watch marketing videos online or read marketing books, I mean, they're going to tell you, you have to do this, you have to do this, you have to do that, right? They're going to give you all of these tips and advice and things that worked for them, but that doesn't mean that that's going to that's what you need to be doing. If you get really, really focused on what works for you, you're going to have a better ROI for what you're doing.
Mm-hmm. Kelly, that
So
seems perfect for one of the questions that's been there for a while from Armando, right? He'd like to see things about extremely focused marketing, not trying to be everything to everyone and just grow. And that sounds like exactly what you're talking about.
yeah, yeah. And so let's get into, let me get through the next slide here, and then we'll talk a little bit more about that, Armando. I think that'll help
Good.
a little bit with what you're looking for. So um, I envision this slide like a journaling activity for you. So
Mm-hmm.
um, this is really some questions that I put together to help you focus on what makes the most sense for you, like your area of focus. Um, I talk a lot about what we do at Summit, and what we do at Summit is not necessarily what you need to do in your firm. You may have a different niche that you work with. You may just have different strengths, different personality, different mission and vision and values. So it's really important, especially for a small firm that's 5 people or less, that you focus on the marketing efforts that make the most sense for you, even if it's different from what we do at Summit or from what that marketing expert online said that you should be doing. So here's some questions. I think it's important to sit down and spend some time thinking through these. What are you good at? Are you, let's say you're just a really, really great speaker, and that's, that is where, when you go out and speak, you have the most potential to draw in leads for your firm. Or maybe you're a really great writer, and that is what you would do best if you sat down and spent some time writing, that you could put out content, and that would be the best thing for you. What are you passionate about? Are you passionate about teaching people? Are you passionate about video? We've got somebody in our community who's just really, really great at video. You can tell she's just passionate about it. So, what are those things that you are just naturally inclined to do? Um, what's the best way to reach your target audience? Obviously, where are
Mm-hmm.
they? And I say obviously, I joke all the time about nobody's trying to find their virtual CFO or their accountant on Instagram, right? I mean, I joke about that. If you're on Instagram, you're probably not looking for an accountant. But if your target audience, if the niche that you're working in is influencers, they may be on Instagram. That may
Mm-hmm.
be where, if you're putting out content, you're going to attract those people that want to work with you or that need your help. So where are they hanging out? Are they on LinkedIn? Are they on YouTube? Just thinking through what your audience is, what your niche, where they might be consuming content.
And Kelly, just
Oh
since you
yeah,
mentioned where are they, I assume it doesn't have to be in the virtual world, right? When you mentioned speaking engagements,
right,
it could be
right,
a professional organization that you're really good at working with, plumbers, for example, and you know
yeah,
that locally there are 3 different groups, and maybe that's a perfect one to say they're there. How do I get in front of that group of people
yeah,
physically?
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep. Um, where would you like to challenge yourself? So I like this one because we can't always do what we're good at and what we're comfortable with and what excites us, right? Where maybe there are opportunities for where you can challenge yourself and reach new audiences that you wouldn't have been able to reach if you didn't challenge yourself a little bit to do something different. And I think that in marketing, that is important, is challenging yourself to try new things. Marketing platforms are always developing and evolving. TikTok is the new one that people are kind of discovering and knowing that, like, okay, if I can put out the right content, I can attract the people that I potential leads for my business. And that may not be you. I'm just saying, there's it's always developing, and so challenge yourself to not just say, this is how we used to do it, but how can we maybe pursue new things and reach new audiences.
Mm-hmm.
And then obviously, what is your budget? We're all limited by something, whether it's money or time. If you're doing everything yourself, your budget may be just your time. How much time can you devote to something? And this is where I want to say, it's important to focus on what you're good at and not try to do all the things, because if you're trying to do all the things, you're going to get overwhelmed by how much there is to do and then not be able to actually deliver on what deliver what you're trying to deliver. So if you're trying to blog every single day and you're running a firm by yourself, that may not work for you. So being realistic about your budget, what you can outsource to other people, and what you can do yourself within the time that you have.
That sounds like a really important tip, that you want to pick something so that maybe 6 months from now you're continuing to do what you committed to do,
Right.
versus it feels like it'd be easy, like you said, I'm going to blog every single day, and that might happen for a week and a half, and then I just can't do it anymore, so it totally stops. I'd be better
Yep.
off probably saying once a week I'll get something out, but then if 6 months later I'm still doing it, I'm probably having the impact I wanted to.
Right. And you're going to be better off saying, so using blogging as the example, if you're saying I'm going to blog every single day, 1,000 words every day, that's very hard to do. And if
Mm-hmm.
you do it for a while and you burn out, or you just don't have the time, you're going to stop doing it, and then you'll feel like, oh, that didn't work. You're better off saying, I'm going to do one blog post a week or one blog post a month, and do
Mm-hmm.
it consistently. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and then figuring out how to repurpose that content over time. As you do grow, you can repurpose content and get more out of it than just the one blog post.
Yep.
So all of those things to say, where does it make the most sense for you to focus your efforts? Like I said, you may be different than Summit, than Jody, our CEO, and how he approached things when the firm was much smaller. Um, you've got to focus on what you're gonna. These areas will help you focus on what is going to have the most impact for you.
Mm-hmm.
So I put these lists side by side for you. You can screenshot this. We will also have this in the slides afterwards. You'll get an email with the slides. But just to kind of show you the funnel, what you can do to attract, nurture, and serve your clients. Make a mental note of these as we go into talking about the developing your marketing plan. And again, it doesn't have to be all of them. So let's say, speaking is your thing, and you know that you can go out and you can do speaking events, and you are running your own firm, it's only you. Go out and do those speaking events, and don't try to do all the things on this list.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but as you grow, you may be able to then take the recordings of your speaking events, hire somebody to write content, to create articles, blog posts. You can create other videos, things like that. You may be able to do more once you focus in on the one thing that you want to focus in on right now. And maybe it's all the things on this list if you are big enough and have enough of a budget to do that. But don't overcomplicate it, don't overthink it. Focus on what makes the most sense for you.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to let you guys take a mental picture of this one, or you can screenshot it. We're going to go into the poll question number 3 while I talk through it. But take a quick mental picture, and then Tom will launch the question.
Yep.
What are you currently doing to market your firm? So I'd love to know, what are the things that you're currently doing? Are you doing speaking engagements? Are you networking or getting referrals? Are you doing any content marketing, paid advertising, or none of the above? And then I'll talk. Interrupt me at any time, Tom, to close up the poll. So
Sure.
you saw the template that I put together for you. So I made a very clear distinction earlier about sales versus marketing. And I don't know if anyone caught that in my template, I have goals for sales, and there's a reason for that. I'll explain. So I think it's important for your marketing team, again, might just be you, but to be looking at the overall sales goal along with the marketing goals. So being aware of where the sales team is, or where you are when you're wearing your sales hat versus where you are when you're wearing your marketing hat. So looking at the sales number and then breaking that down into leads. and then breaking down your tactics. Let's say you are you want to close 12 new clients in a year. You want to bring in 12 new clients, and you know that you, in a typical consultation call that you typically close 30% of them. So then you know that your marketing goal is to get 38 or 30, I almost said 38, Tom, I'm not that bad at math, 36 leads to schedule consultations with you. So that's how many leads you want to get to the bottom of the funnel. Oh, we've closed the poll here.
Yep,
So
everything looks full.
so I just want to look at these results for a second. So we've got 17% of you do speaking engagement, 67% networking and or referrals. That's fantastic. Almost 40% at content marketing, 8% paid advertising, and 25% none of the above. Okay, fantastic. I'm
This
very
webinar is
happy
for
for the
them.
25 people, 25% of you that are here. I mean, I'm happy for all of you that are here, but those 25% of people, I think I'm really excited to have you here and to give you the homework assignment at the end. I'll say that very quickly.
Yes.
So back to looking at the marketing plan template. This is super simple. We're just looking at, like I mentioned, the sales goal, the leads goal, and then what are the tactics that we're going to take. Now, I'll be honest, mine is not this simple. If you look at it, I start breaking it down from there, and you can do that. But this is the starting point for you, and just where to start. And we've already done the thought process of what am I good at, what am I passionate about, what is my budget, what are the things I want to focus on. And then we're going to plug them in here to the tactics. I'm going to go to the next slide. I've got a sample here for you. So like I mentioned, let's say you want to close 12 clients. You typically close 30% of your lead or your
You close your
totally
leads into
stumbling over
clients,
that, but
right?
yeah,
Yeah.
your consultations into clients, paying clients. So you want to have 36 of those. So then what are the tactics? How do we get to those 36 people at the bottom of the funnel? No matter what you're doing, your website traffic should be something that you're looking at. So I've got the website traffic in here. We look at the average number of sessions per month. And then a starting point. So whatever program you have your website in, more than likely you have the ability to get some numbers on analytics. You can also get that from Google Analytics, but you can probably go back at this point and pull how many average sessions have I had per month, and then I would break this down into January through December and starting to look at it on a monthly basis and comparing that to maybe how we ended the year last year. Social media posts, if that's one of the things that you choose, you want to do one social media post on LinkedIn per day, for example. How many followers do you have? What's your starting point? And then looking at that number on a regular basis. Blog posts, if we were going to do one blog post per week, how many subscribers do you have? What's that starting point? Chats, how many are being initiated per month? Consultations. So this brings us down to the bottom of the funnel, which brings us back to our goal. So how many consultations are being scheduled per month? If you're watching this number regularly, you can see that it's in line with what you want to see for the year. Then, like I said, I would break this down even further then into how am I going to get that website traffic? Am I going to pursue being a guest on a podcast so that I can, talk about my firm and get those people to then come to my website? Or if I'm doing speaking engagements, how many of those am I going to do per year, per month, per whatever? And those are going to probably lead to an increase in organic traffic on direct traffic on my site. So this may seem like super oversimplified, but this is exactly how I approached it at Summit when I came in, and we turned this into our weekly, agenda for the marketing team. Even if you're a marketing team of one, this can be an agenda that you have for yourself, that you have a calendar appointment, 30 minutes per week that you just go and pull these numbers and look at them. We go through every week and look at all the numbers. If somebody's on vacation a week and we miss, it's not a big deal. We're looking at it on a regular basis. But looking at these numbers, it's basically the agenda of our meeting. We go through everything, and it helps drive our efforts throughout the week. So if we know that that we want to get on so many podcasts, we want so many podcast interviews or so many speaking events. That's something we need to be proactively working on every week as we're looking at these numbers, so that we know that, or not every week, but on a regular basis, right? We're pursuing those speaking events, we're pursuing those podcast interviews, we are, whatever those tactics are, we're always doing those and looking at how they impact the numbers, and we can see in real time direct results from our efforts.
Mm-hmm.
Um, all of that to say, don't overthink it. Just create the plan and create a list of the tactics that you're going to work on, and then start working on them. So I've got this another great quote for you. I promise this is the last one.
Kelly,
If
just
you,
one comment about that. I
yeah,
would think getting started is really important, because I would imagine if you look at those goals over time, then you start adjusting the goals, right? That I start
right,
off saying, oh, I couldn't get one per month, so I change it to one per quarter, but maybe over time that changes. And
yeah,
just, but being able to look at it and saying, okay, I'm not actually converting a third of the people, I'm converting half of the people, and how does that change? Right. So
yeah.
sort of getting started feels important.
Yeah, getting started and exactly creating those simple steps, and then, looking at them on a regular basis, and then doing the things in between that help contribute to those numbers. We
Hmm.
actually, one of the goals that we created, I think it was, gosh, at least a couple of years ago, was we wanted to get an article on other websites, on somebody else's website, it said one per quarter. So we had one per quarter was our goal. Just once per quarter, we wanted somebody else to publish an article that we wrote that linked back to our website. Some of that is for, the SEO benefit of that, but then also just the reach, getting our content in front of their audience as well. Um, and we I think we still have it in our goal that it's one per quarter, but we easily have one per month, if not more than that. So I don't really worry about that goal so much as just the way that it just drives your workflow. So we're always looking at that. We're always looking at how we can get our content out there. Do I need to increase that goal to 2 per month? No, not really. I mean, it's really just that we're constantly working in that
Hmm.
direction. And Tom, you said this before I even read the quote, but this is basically like what you were saying. If you have a goal that is very, very far out and you approach it in little steps, you start to get there faster. And
Sure.
this is, I think, my motto in life is that if you set a goal, you have a goal, and you create the steps for that to reach that goal, and you just start making some movement, you're going to reach that goal faster than you thought, or you're going to
Hmm.
reach that goal. You can continue to modify your steps, modify your goal, but just setting something in motion helps you eventually get there.
Yeah.
Um, Another example is when I first came on at Summit, we had we had a YouTube channel. We had a few videos on there, but nothing that we really, we weren't really putting out a lot of content on there. But we made it a focus for last year to start building out our YouTube channel. We developed the channel a little bit, made it look more like YouTube, you know, culturally,
Hmm.
YouTube presence. We started doing our podcasts as videos on YouTube, and publishing those there. We started doing these webinars last year. We published all of these webinars to YouTube also, and just kind of a variety of things that we started doing. And if you're looking at those numbers on a weekly basis, like I said, we do, sometimes it feels like week to week, you're like, oh, we got an increase in one follower, maybe two, and it feels like nothing in the moment. But when you look back, I also like to look at things at the end of the year and do like an annual kind of review of everything. And when you look back at the end of the year, you see that progress has been made that you didn't see when you were looking at it in the moment. So our traffic from YouTube to our website, our traffic increased by 2,850%, which is one
Wow.
of my favorite statistics to share. The actual number was like probably in the hundreds. It wasn't like so crazy, but it like is the funniest number to share because when we figured that out, we were like, wow, like what we were doing was working, even if the actual numbers are less than what it makes it sound like. Um, we saw tremendous results from just doing something, right? Just putting something into motion. Every time we do a webinar, we put it on YouTube. Every time we do a podcast, we put it on YouTube. It's as simple as that. Over time, we start to increase our website traffic from YouTube, our followers on YouTube, just our building awareness, that attract stage. People are finding us because of that effort that we're making. Our YouTube followers increased by 269%. I think when we started, we were at like 20 followers. Now we're just over 300, which is still very small for YouTube, but we're an accounting firm, and I'm proud of that. I think that we're doing really, really great. We're putting out great content, and people are finding it, and it's really fun to see. So in the end, in the moment, it may feel like very small progress, but in the end, you start to see some really big results over time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's great. And you had mentioned repurposing. I know I have shared some of our videos, not with prospective clients, but with people in our VCFO fireside chat that could use it, or even clients, and saying, hey,
Yeah.
we had a podcast about this topic. You should look at that. So we're getting more than just firm marketing out of it.
Yeah, absolutely. And those, you create the videos, you put them on YouTube, but you could also share those on social media. It helps with
Mm-hmm.
creating some social media posts. We then also turn our podcasts into articles. So we take that content that we're talking about, we get you and somebody together for 30 minutes and make you have a conversation, and then we can turn that into other article content, written content that we can use. So it's great. Now, we do have a big team of people. If you're by yourself or you have just a couple of people, it may take a while to get to that point, but the more you can repurpose content and make more content
Mm-hmm.
out of it, the less time it takes you really overall. You're not having to reinvent the wheel every time. So I mentioned homework assignment. I've
This is
got
great.
just a couple of action steps for you. So what do you do with this information? Many of you said that you don't have a brand guide. I think it was 25% of you said that you're not doing any of
Yep.
the marketing tactics that I mentioned. So what next? First, complete the style guide. It really takes minutes. It's very quick and easy to put together in that template. You'll have this template in your email inbox soon. Build out the marketing plan. So create those tactics. You can put it in Microsoft Word, you can put it in Google Docs, you can put it in Excel. I know you're accountants and you love Excel. Whatever, you can use OneNote. And we use Microsoft Word, but I've created tables in there so we can look at all of the numbers just as we go through them weekly. Put it on your calendar to review that on a regular basis. And then last, share your marketing plan. If you are part of our CFO community, I would love it if you would share it in our marketing channel. So we have a marketing channel in the Slack community. We meet monthly, so I run just a monthly marketing meetup is what I call it. It's very casual, just show up, ask marketing questions. We usually have a good group of people that all contribute. And if you would like our feedback, would love to have you share your marketing plan with us, and we can talk through it with you and get feedback from other accountants and from me, from anyone in that group. Would love to do that for you if that's something that you're interested in. If you're not part of our CFO community already, I will have Tom take it from here and he can tell you more about that.
Okay. Yeah, and just one comment on that, Kelly. If I were listening saying, wow, I really should do that assignment, if it were me, I would go out and put an hour and a half on my calendar and say, I'm going to
Yeah.
spend this time. You said it was simple. I'm going to make enough progress that I'm going to get it started. I know it won't be perfect, but you've given an option to help improve it by people looking. And if I start measuring, I can say, okay, maybe I overshot and thought it was too much. I'll start adjusting it from there.
Yeah.
So we do have a couple of offers. The Slack community, we have a CFO community that's an active Slack channel community. Kelly mentioned there's a marketing channel where she would like people to put the content in there. If you would like to be part of this and be interactive people, we have different channels. I have one that relates to a book club. There's even a general channel for just questions of who knows how to do something and make connections. We're offering a month of free access so you can get a chance to kind of see what is in that channel and what things you could benefit from by doing that. So we would encourage people to do that. I mentioned at the beginning of the broadcast that I'm one of the virtual CFOs at Summit. If that's of interest to you, we have a course that you can take where we've broken everything down into a playbook. How do you try to land $60,000 per year clients offering CFO services? It's a pretty intensive course. It's 15 different modules that we go through piece by piece, all sorts of different things, including marketing is one of the areas that we look at in here. As you complete that, there's a free coaching session with one of our owners, Adam Hale, and with me to work on, okay, so what did you learn and how are you going to try to apply this? It does come with a free book. There is a subscription to the Slack community, and we have once per week meetups where different CPAs are talking about what are they learning, what are they challenged with, how does Summit do it, how does other teams do, other firms do things related to CFO services. So I'd highly encourage people if they're interested to do that. So I think that brings us to our conclusion for today. We are always looking for great people. So if this is of interest to you and what you heard about Summit sound interesting, we'd love to hear from you or refer people to come over to us. So there's a little bit of our marketing being demonstrated, at least for leads for employees. Kelly, thank you very much. I think this is really helpful. I've gotten to see your work personally here inside Summit, but this also gives a chance for people to say, how could they do some of these things to help their firm? So thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks. It was fun. I hope you join our community if you are not part of it already. Love to talk more about marketing your firm.
Sounds great. Everybody have a great day.